Take prime real estate in the most beautiful places on Earth, remove restrictions, and then plug it into this, you get landscapes future generations won't recognize. At least that's what we've come to expect. Tourism rarely destroys a place overnight, it erodes it, one crack at a time. Few regions reveal both sides of this story more clearly than a small chain of islands off the northwest coast of Africa, the Canary Islands. Attracting 20 million visitors every year, spending more in a week than many locals earn in a month, all adds up to over 24.6 billion euros. That's not tourism money, that's nation-state money. If that much money was placed on your island, would you be able to leave it untouched? Tenerife and Gran Canaria didn't hesitate, yet only 50 minutes south of the largest tourism machine in the Canaries, the story is much different. Arriving in La Gomera from Los Cristianos, you'd be forgiven if you felt like you were no longer in the Canaries. Although these islands share the same DNA, it's quite obvious that this is a very different world. No mega resorts, no shopping malls, no manufactured spectacle, just a world that looks similar to its neighbors, giving you a glimpse at what the other islands were like once upon a time. Mass tourism hasn't arrived in La Gomera, though there's every possibility it could. Most people will downplay this, saying the island's topography made large-scale tourism impossible, but geography has rarely stopped humans. Geography doesn't stop development, it delays it. Just look at the Maldives or Mount Everest. And La Gomera is much easier to reach than many places that later became tourism giants. We all know far too well the lengths our species is willing to go for money. With neighboring islands saturated, it's only natural that developers set their sights elsewhere. And that's what makes small islands like La Gomera vulnerable. Because the biggest misconception about over-tourism is that saturation is the benchmark. It isn't. All it takes is one giant resort in a small community to completely disrupt the economic and cultural ecosystem. Think of it like a small village that only runs on small businesses that all of a sudden gets a Walmart. We all know what happens to the heart of town and the friction it creates in a community. So how did La Gomera avoid going through the same doors as Tenerife and Gran Canaria? By answering this simple question: what kind of wealth do we want? Because not all wealth is measured by the size of a bank account. Some take the money, others choose something different. While developers went all in on its neighbors, La Gomera's geographic hurdles bought the island time to implement restrictions on development. In 1981, the Garajonay National Park was created. The same way that tropical nations have recently learned that manta rays and sharks are more valuable alive, 45 years ago the islanders made the same decision about the largest laurel forest in the Canary Islands. Then in 2012, La Gomera went a step farther when the entire island was designated a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. And most recently in 2025, a landmark new holiday home law was approved. This mandates that 90% of residential areas on La Gomera must remain for permanent residents, meaning only 10% of housing can be used for tourist rentals such as Airbnbs. Because when you're surrounded by cautionary tales, you have to do something to make sure you don't end up on the same path. Geography bought La Gomera time, tradition decided how that time was used. prioritizing small-scale agriculture and community, not high-density tourism. On the surface, to an outsider like myself, it looks like a better deal. Quieter streets, more space, more time. But without a population boom driven by big industry, sacrifices are unavoidable. You don't get the large hospitals or emergency infrastructure that come with scale. Everyday services cost more. Necessities travel further. And nothing is optimized for volume. But there's another trade-off most people don't talk about as much. In places like this, people aren't disconnected. We live this in Fiji, and we see it here. In a way, it's like The Simpsons. Everyone knows everyone, not as a concept, but as a reality. Because community isn't something you find here, it's something you participate in, whether you want to or not. And that kind of world doesn't scale very well. For now, La Gomera has managed to resist the growth that transformed its neighbors, although history tells us humans aren't very good at resisting profit forever. It may already be too late for places like Tenerife and Gran Canaria, islands that weren't transformed overnight, but slowly reshaped by the billions they said yes to. But here, the story is still being written. In a world that keeps building more, protecting less, and moving faster than ever, La Gomera understands that what you refuse ultimately shapes what you become. And as untouched places grow rarer, restraint may become the rarest luxury of all. Because time preserves, money accelerates, the question is, which force wins?